war meine Bestimmung.
I read in earlier interviews that you worked tirelessly to get into the role of Elvis long before shooting even began. Can you talk us through your work to find the voice, the dance move, the mannerisms, and maybe even the soul of Elvis?
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about the soul, because that was the core of it. For me, was stripping all the other stuff away and getting down to who he was at his core, you know. And I just absorbed everything that was available, and I watched everything, and I read everything, and I had a year and a half where I didn't do anything else, trying to feel what he felt like on the inside. And so that then translated to his spiritual life, his psyche, his voice, and the way that he moved both on and off the stage, and also how he changed over the years, because he changed quite a lot in that time. And it's this matter of getting incredibly specific and meticulous. At the end of the day, it having to be about it being alive right now and feeling as though it was happening for the first time.
You had access to the archives of Graceland to work on the movie. Which aspect of Elvis's life fascinated you the most?
I mean, I didn't just have access, I had an office there. But there were some really curious little things, you know, like Elvis had glaucoma. So there were optical glasses he was wearing towards the end. A bit like Eminem too, you know, Eminem becomes really successful, but doesn't really move away from his home. He just moves up to a nice house on the hill. And that's what happens with Elvis. Graceland, it's a magical place, but it's not very big, but it's actually quite just a nice proportioned house. You know, when you're in Graceland, you know he was comfortable there. You know he felt a great warmth there.
Which aspects of Elvis and Priscilla's life fascinated you the most?
How close that they remained friends, and their friendship and their love following the divorce, I think, was very surprising to me, but also very impressive to me. I think that it takes a lot of courage to put all your drama sort of or bitterness behind and move forth as friends. And I truly believe that they had a beautiful love story, and that there was a lot of love and a lot of care there.
So einige sehen wohl mich als den Bösen in dieser Geschichte hier. Ich möchte Ihr Manager sein, Mr. Presley. Sind Sie bereit zu fliegen?
Ich bin bereit zu fliegen.
The movie asks a great question on whether Colonel Parker, played famously by Tom Hanks in the movie, was actually the villainous manager in Elvis's life. After working on this movie, how do you watch upon the relationship, and how was it working with Tom Hanks?
It was amazing working with Tom. He's consummate professional and such a wonderful human, and I've admired him my whole life, and just looked up to him for so long. So the feeling of finally being on set with him and getting to act with him was out of this world.
It was a no-brainer for me because he's just one of the great actors of all time, but I didn't know whether he'd be interested in doing it. And what was interesting, usually you sit down and take like 3 weeks to convince an actor. I must have spoken to him for maybe 10 minutes. I had no script, you know. Tom just says, well, if you want me, I'm your man. That's how much he wanted to play that kind of really disturbing character.
Yeah, it's a complex relationship that they had. I truly believe there was a lot of love there and a lot of care. And it was very similar to a parent-child relationship at times, you know. But at a certain point, Elvis was loyal to a fault. I think that there's certain tragedies, like the fact that Elvis never got to perform outside the country. Yeah, I think that's really sad.
I had the Colonel advocate in the court of public opinion, look, don't go blaming me. It's not in the movie, but when Elvis dies, it's a fact that the first thing Colonel does, he puts down the phone, picks it up and rings RCA and says, print more records. Now, we'd all go like, oh, what a horrible person. But he would argue that you guys want the records. My job was to exploit Elvis Presley. But I have no doubt that, like a marriage that turns toxic, the fact that the Colonel has a deep, dark secret and entraps, I mean, Elvis is caught in a trap, he can't get out. And that trap is the International Hotel. I don't know how much longer Elvis would have survived, but I think that he always needed to move forward. He always needed new challenges. And had he gone around the world and started playing the world, he would have found, I think, new heights to scale, some new way of feeling what was in his heart, you know.
You're looking for trouble? You came to the right place. You're looking for trouble? Look right in my face.
Hatte keine Ahnung, was getan hatte.
Austin does a really, really great job of portraying Elvis. Can you tell us the ratio of how often you will hear Austin singing versus the real Elvis singing?
all of the young performances, whenever you see Elvis on stage singing like Let's Play House, Trouble, Blue Suede Shoes, that's all Austin.
Do you have a favorite song by the king of rock and roll?
I've been saying Blue Moon a lot, and I do love that song. But Unchained Melody is also just a banger. It's a great song, and it's very, very moving. And obviously his final performance of it is so incredibly touching and iconic. So
I mean, Unchained Melody was really one of the first things I ever worked on, and that one carried through a lot in that way.
I mean, if you're doing Unchained Melody, it's such a famous performance, and you can't believe that Elvis is singing that. It's the last time he sings, you know, and he's probably singing better than he ever sang in his life.
Ich muss das Beste aus der Sache machen, solange ich kann. Es könnte im Nu vorbei sein.
Wir sind gleich, wir beide. Zwei ungewöhnliche, einsame Kinder, die nach der Ewigkeit greifen. Die größte Show auf Erden.
Elvis has left the building.